Hello, everyone. For Indian audience, good afternoon to all of you. Now, I will just introduce 2 minutes about the podcast. Then we will have an introduction about our guest today. So, Sell Like Her podcast is dedicated to inspire and empower women to pursue an excellent sales career by filling the gender gap, to live to the fullest of her potential, and to achieve financial independence. I'll be interviewing amazing, successful women sales leaders and CEOs from India and around the globe, where we discuss their sales journey, their challenges, their wins, and much more. So, I welcome today's guest, Sohinee. Hi, Sohinee, how are you?
Hey, hi, thank you. Happy Sunday. And thanks for inviting me, Thilaga. It's a pleasure to be on
Yeah,
your podcast.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's pleasure to hear. So, I'll just give 2 minutes of your introduction, then we'll start the conversation.
sure.
So, Sohinee, she leads the Cloud Alliance from NTT. She's won the award recently. That's from Google Cloud 2022 Partner All Star Award. And she's certified mentor and coach for life coaching and executive coaching. She's certified non-violence and emotional quotient certified practitioner. So total her experience is 20 plus, out of which 20 years, sorry, 14 years she worked in Canada in sales, and 10 years she's working here in India. So we talk more about it. I welcome Sohini.
Thanks, Thilaga. Thank you. Pleasure is all
Okay,
mine.
thank you. So I just was going through your LinkedIn. Okay, so I understood that your background is basically film and journalism. So how it's all shifted to sales?
That's right. You're right. You actually have a good observation. So I shifted to sales long back, actually, 1999, when I finished my studies, and then I had to go abroad, and I landed up in a very French speaking area, and I wasn't ready with my language skills at that time, and I had to give up journalism because you need to know the language to speak and kind of do that, right? So that's how I kind of was opting for a second career. And I wanted to be on my own feet and zero dependency in a completely new country, and with no extended family there. I always thought that, I need a second option. So sales is what something I realized probably was there in me. So I kind of took that up.
Okay, so that's why even we kept the topic as how you become an independent being. I think that's something every woman on the planet want to have it, right? What do you think about it?
That's right. Yeah, it's very important. I think it's and I think it's for anybody, right? When a child grows up, irrespective of the gender, I think it's very important that one has to grow up independently. More for the girls in the Indian context, but if you look at globally, I think all of us have to have that flair. And I also think it's not just a financial independence, it's about the mind, right? You have to make your mind independent, right? And I think that kind of stems from mindfulness as well, right? It's a very critical aspect of having that, right? So
So
yeah.
according to you, Sohini, what it means by independent?
It's a very good question, and we can talk at length about it. But I think it's about knowing, right, what you want in life and going for it completely without any distractions, and having that commitment, passion, and conviction that you could do it all by yourself, right? The world can fall apart, right? But you would be able to strive for that goal that you would like to do all by yourself, right? And you need support for sure, but your goals and aspirations are not dependent on your surroundings. You could do it yourself as well. So it's more of a self conviction more than anything, is what I feel.
Yeah, I agree to you. So
Yeah,
how was the, like, when we go back, your initial stage of sales, like how it's all started, the challenges, because Indian women
yeah,
going Canada and starting sales career. Firstly, sales
yeah,
career itself, it's a challenge, but being an Indian going to Canada and
yeah.
starting sales career, how was the challenges for you?
I agree. You know what? This is interesting. So, little bit of a background, right? See, I hail from a Bengali family, right? And I'm talking about those days, correct? I was the only child, right? I had no brothers and sisters, and that was also quite exceptional at that time because I was the only child. And in a very well-defined Bengali family in those days, it was pretty normal to take up an engineering stream or to study for 6 years of your becoming a doctor, a practitioner, or do something more academic, right? That's the pressure you always have, right? And especially for a woman, right, to take up sales as a profession was not something that welcoming at those days, right? And I'm talking predominantly about the Bengali culture, right? So it wasn't easy for me to convince as well my family that this is what I will be taking up, right? But at the same time, it was easy for me because I was outside India and they had a limited amount of outreach because we didn't have that much of phone calls then, right? So the influence was also not that much. It was limited, right? So there were many challenges, correct? So first of all, family having that acceptance that I'm going to take up sales as a career, right? Also, you have to realize that when you enter a new country, you have zero knowledge of that country, right? You have very limited knowledge about the culture, the way of working. Um, I landed up to a state where they primarily spoke French. So when I entered the office world, even the emails were transacted in French. So I literally had to take a dictionary and read and translate and get the meaning and then write back, right? So first of all, acceptance, right? You coming as a foreigner, working there and getting accepted was another big challenge. One was family, one was getting accepted as a foreigner. Third was, getting into the social milieu, right? Making friends there, right? Um, how people will take you because you have to also speak the same language to be friends with them, right? You need to pick up like a hockey episode and discuss at length, in your happy hours. And I had no clue what they were talking about at that time, so I was so disconnected when I moved. It was quite challenging to get accepted as well. More from a work pressure, more as an individual, right? And make friends. However, my husband was with me throughout, so we were compensating each other and complementing each other, right? Nonetheless, I think organizations were very forthcoming where I worked upon, and they actually helped me a lot in kind of understanding the culture and the psyche and the human behaviors there. And I started taking up a lot of courses, understanding the culture as well, right? And the language barrier, I started picking French. So gradually, it kind of synced in with me, and I think yeah, that's how. So it was challenging from family, from social pressure, getting into the milieu, understanding people. Yeah, it's and especially because I completely moved from one country to the other, right? So that was a little challenging, yeah, but it was also quite interesting because I made new friends, I learned a new language, and you know I see a very positive side of it.
Yeah, that's good. So it's mainly the acceptance and facing the challenge and learning what is necessary to overcome those
Yeah,
challenges.
and you need to have challenges in life. I think that if I was in India, life would have been a very red carpet for me. I'm so glad it didn't, that I actually had to fight this out completely, because That's what probably defines me as an individual right now.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. So it's not everyone think in that angle. So it's we need to think in that angle as well, you know.
Yeah, life shouldn't be too easy either. I think I tell my daughter all the time there should be some huddles. That's how you know yourself more, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah.
So like how was the like how you move to leadership role from sales, how it all happened.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I think I don't call myself a leader. I call myself a human being because I think it's for others to call me a leader, right? When I think of myself, I don't think of a leader. I think I'm an individual, and I would love to be loved as an individual who actually showed empathy towards the surroundings. And it's not easy all the time, but that's what I think of myself. As I said, the journey was not easy, but I think I was very thankful of the surroundings that I have, even in my present organization, that are people I work with, and I think it's kind of they make it easier for me rather than me, right? So it's a
Mm-hmm.
symbiosis, right? You need the right type of people around you, and I think I'm lucky to have that. People have little faith and trust in me as well. So I think that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's mainly a leader quality is being empathy and being a human more than a leader, right?
Yeah, as I said, it's for you to call me a leader. I call myself a human being more than anything, right? Because
Wow.
that's where it starts. I think this whole leadership thing, I feel that you be a human being and you give your best and you be empathetic to your surroundings and you help others grow and be passionate to what you do. That's it, right? I want to be remembered as a human being more than anything.
Great. Okay. So like how it all happened from moving from Canada to India.
Yeah, so I actually, so we decided to come back because we were very grounded in our culture, and we always wanted our daughter to have the Indian roots, right? So she was 4.5 when we moved back to India, and we thought that we should delay anymore because then it will be difficult to uproot her. So yeah, we moved back. I took a year off from work because I wanted her to get used to the whole system, helping her to make friends. It was like a circle back. When I went there, I had to make friends. And then I came back, I had to help my daughter to, you know what I mean? It was like I could see
Yeah,
myself
yeah.
finishing that whole circle, right?
Oh
So
wow.
it was very interesting to see. Yeah, it was like, I was like, okay, a few years back, I was struggling there to make friends. Now, when I come back, I ensure that I help my daughter to, for her to settle down, know the culture, because for her, it was very new. She was born there, right? So yeah, but she was 4.5. It was a lot easier, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
think she loved the Indian food. She loved the culture. She loved her friends, and it was really easy for us to settle down. And for me, I hail from India. For me, it was always a dream to come back and give back to my country, whatever shape and form. And I had some great mentors in India, right, whom I could connect back. And I was very fortunate enough to come back to an organization which was full of empathy, right, which really helped me to do a work life balance, which was previously called Net Magic, now called Entity. It's an organization that helps women beyond anything, right? So we have a track which is running right now where we help women to come if they have a break in their life, or even new women, new kind of people who would like to take up, new careers. So I was actually lucky, I think, to have the right kind of organization that chose me to support them and collaborate them, and that kind of fell in place, I think.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's great. So like, do you see any difference between because you are the one worked in India as well as Canada
Yeah.
in sales? So any difference you see doing sales in Canada and doing sales in India?
There's a huge difference because I'll tell you why. It's a very interesting question, Tilaga. The primary reason, because I mean, this actually goes back to the very fundamental question where you actually deconstruct sales. What is sales? Correct? I believe, and I could be humbly wrong, and I'm ready to take that, but I believe it's about understanding the human psyche and the person who is sitting across me, making him understand my value proposition. But more than that, I need to understand that individual, right? And what's in it for him, what's in it for her, what's in it for the organization, and what is the joint value proposition, because it's a win-win at the end of the day. I don't think that I'm taking something to an individual uh, where he or she is doing me a favor. I strongly believe in my conviction that it's a two-way traffic, it's a mutual win, right? From that perspective, I think that the human psyche is very different because it's very much determined by the culture we live in, right? So the culture in Canada was very different as opposed to India, obviously, and needless to say that. So the type of conversations, the type of acceptances that one has in India is very different than here, right? So I'll give you a I'll give you an example, right? It was very common to kind of have conversations in Monday to Friday there, right, and not have any conversations in weekends. But here, it's very different, right? The timelines are different, the pressures are different, the expectations are different, but and it's all determined by the culture that you live in, correct? Thankfully, this is the culture I grew up, and I have seen my parents also, right? So I kind of quickly adjusted myself because I was very much aware of this culture. It was much more difficult when I moved there actually to adjust myself. So there is a lot of differences, and it stems from your conditioning, your social conditioning, correct? So yeah, there are differences, intrinsic differences as well.
Yeah. So the root causes the culture, right? That makes
Yeah,
difference between.
yeah. So I'll give you an example. Here, I could go and crack a joke with anybody in the organization, right? There, it's very difficult. You probably have to make an appointment to crack a joke, right? So,
Oh my
you
God.
know what I mean? Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's very different, right? Very different. But I mean, yeah, I respect both the cultures, right? And they are very different depending on the social conditioning one has. If you ask me, I personally prefer being in India and be in sales in India because it's just easier for me because I grew up here. So I think it's in my
Mm,
DNA, right? Yeah.
okay, got it. Um, See, like you're also a non-violence certified coach. Like as a woman in sales, like how you protect yourself. I think that's also important topic which need to be addressed, right?
Yeah, important. It's important. See, I think I probably will just say that it's about be aware. I think that's very important. Be aware. Be aware of your surrounding. Be aware. Be conscious of what's happening. And Tilaga, at the end of the day, when you talk about safety, I think it's also in your hands to some extent, right? You define your boundaries as well, right? I mean, with all due respect, right? I know how I operate and where I operate and what are my boundaries. I don't cross that boundaries. I have my own self-imposed boundaries, correct? And I'm aware of my surrounding very well, right? And that's how I preserve my safety, touchwood, and I also feel that this actually stems to a very interesting topic, Tilaga, is your value system. Very important. You don't want to compromise your value system, right? A lot of times things go wrong because you think of compromising with your value system. And that something is constant, right? I think if you are sticking to your values and principles in life, you would be probably having a higher chance of being safe and secure and being aware. You getting me what I'm
True.
saying?
Yes,
That's
100%.
important. Very important, right? That's how I remind myself, and I tell my daughter as well. I have a daughter. I tell her, have your principles and never compromise with that, whatever be it, right? Because at the end of the day, if you compromise with your conviction and principles, I mean, you're going to lose it all, right?
Yeah,
So,
that's true. Your values and your principles, what you follow is
yeah,
so important.
very, very.
The
And the
other
thing
day,
is, yeah,
yeah,
go on. Yeah.
yeah, continue. Go ahead, go ahead.
I was just saying that if you know your values and principles, I think people know you accordingly as well, and they know where to kind of draw their line as well, right? Because you represent
That's
that
true.
at the end of the day, right? And that's how you're defined, right? So I think it's very important to define yourself, and that's how people will remember you as well, and not to compromise there. That's it's a very very it's a topic that's very close to my heart, right? I'm a big fan of Stephen Covey's, Seven Habits of Living, and I was reading Gaur Gopal Das's book yesterday, and
Mm-hmm.
one thing that's constant in life is your values.
True.
Yeah, yeah,
Very true. So the good point I really liked is the way you carry yourself, your values, and your principles. The others respond accordingly, right?
that's right. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yes, you define it,
Yeah.
and it's like it's you're right. It's like a reactionary thing, right? They see you and that's how they react. You set it up. You set the stage with your values and principles. You make it very clear, right? These are my convictions and I don't compromise with that.
Yeah. Even in
That's very
my
important.
sales experience, also, I've very clearly I've understood the way you
Yeah.
behave with your clients, the customer, the words what you
Yeah.
use,
Very
everything
critical.
make boundaries for your own self. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
yeah, if you're clear with that, sales will be easy
Yeah.
because whenever, yeah.
Yeah. I think it won't be easy, maybe, but what will happen is people you'll be much safer. This stems from the question how to, I mean, you will be in a much comfortable zone because you have set that expectation day one, right? uh, so it's like
Mm,
don't mess with me beyond certain things, correct? And that's important being a woman in Indian context, right? And there are a few principles that leads to few habits that you create in your life, right? These are the things, operational habits, right? And you stick to that, right? And I'm not saying this will guarantee, but I'm saying it's important to have that.
yeah, understood.
Yeah,
Um, okay, so let's talk about cloud, like, do you know any statistics or approximately like what kind of ratio of women in sales in this
I
platform?
don't have that. Yeah, I think we talked
Uh,
about it. I don't have that with me, but I also think that it's changing, right? And I see more and more women coming into, in general, into IT if you keep cloud separately. Because um, I look at my own organization, I see a lot of drives to hire women. So there are, I think, in general, organizations are much more aware of the need of diversity. If you look at um, like like Microsofts of the world and Amazons of the world and Googles of the world. And I talked about entity already. I think a lot of organizations are very much aware, and we have diversity kind of mandates as well. Correct. So I think things are heading for a very good change. A lot of women are moving into sales and any sales, be it any kind of sales, right? I think that dogma that is not there, that you can't be in sales because you're a woman. I think that's changing, right? And I'm so happy to see that that's changing, right? So yeah, I don't have the number for you, but I think that things are moving for good as far as the representation of women in sales is concerned. Yeah.
Great. And so, what advice do you give to women who wants to get into sales, as well
Yeah.
who are there in sales but they're looking for higher and higher roles?
Yeah. I think I don't know if I'm in a position to give that advice, because I think I'm also learning, but I think my humble request would be, or suggestion would be, that, you know, do what your mind says. Correct. If you want to be in sales, go for it. Right. Be passionate of what you do. That's my only thing. You want to be a pianist, be passionate about it. You want to sell, be passionate about it. Right. Know the law of the land, read a lot of things, and get into it in a very deep manner. Correct. And understand the industry, understand the trends, and you know, I think it's all about staying true to your dream. If you have a dream to be a leader in sales, then just go for it and have a passion. That's very important. Have that fire in the belly, you know, and nothing can stop you if you have that. You should be able to get that. Right? And there will be obstacles, right? As I said initially, there will be obstacles. And so many things will pull you down in life, right? But then at the end of the day, if you really want it, you're going to make it happen, right? That's important. That fire in the belly, that conviction, right? That that spark, you know, that's important.
You talked about the dreams. Every woman should have a dream. So, what are your dreams, Sohini?
I have a lot, many, right? Uh, and I have a lot, many, and I just say one thing, that sell your dreams, not products, right? That's my dream itself. Is whatever I have my dream, I'm going to make it happen, right? And one dream that I have, of course, is to see a lot of women getting the taste of success. And when I say success, I'm not talking financial success. I'm talking success in the terms of what they want in life, whatever they want in life. I want them to get that, right? With a harmonious work and family balance. That's very critical, right? Especially in India, right? I would love to see a woman who is successful in career and equally successful with her family. Right?
Family.
That's what I think is, yeah, I think that's very important. Success to
Very
me
true.
is not just financial success or work success. Success is a holistic word for me, right? You need to have a proper work family balance, right? That's what I want to see, right? I want to see my other dream. I want to see a lot of kids on the street free of hunger, right? I want them to have basic education, right? This has been a dream for me from early childhood, right? Yeah, I mean, the thing is, there are so many dreams, right? And you just hope they all come true.
Yeah, but it's very impactful dream, I would say, and I really heartfully wish you to uh, be an instrument to fill the stomach of
Yeah,
so many kids on the streets and to give the educations to so many. Even today morning, I will forward you later. I just
yeah,
watched a video about one lady whom Oprah
yeah,
Winfrey interviewed, Cherai
uh,
Trent. I don't know your watch, so maybe
no,
1 minute I take is she born in South Africa, and she used to help a
yeah,
boy, her sibling, to write the homework, everything, but she did not
hmm,
allow to go for a school. The whole city, the state, not allowed a girl not allowed to go to the
hmm,
studies. Okay, so since
hmm,
the boy's teacher just saw the homework, everything, she was surprised he could not answer on the school, but
hmm,
homework were perfect. So the teacher went
hmm,
to the village and checked who was doing the homework. This is the girl who
hmm,
did the homework.
hmm,
So then she got married at 11 years, and I think then she got three kids. That lady, that girl, yeah, at 15 years or something, she got three kids. Then somebody came from NGO,
hmm,
and
hmm,
they given the scholarship or whatever to go to United States to do their
hmm,
to do her degree. Then she completed
hmm.
her degree, bachelor, masters, and she also did her PhD. But during this
Oh, wow.
process, yes, during this process, lot of beaten up by her husband, not to go for a
Oh,
school, a degree.
are you
Yes,
serious? My
yes, but
God, can you
still,
believe it?
for her generation, for her community, she
Huh.
sacrificed all her beating, everything, and she finally did her PhD. Now she along with the support of Oprah, they are building a lot of schools in that particular state.
Beautiful. Isn't it beautiful? Beautiful, Thilaga.
Yeah,
What a lovely share. What a love. You know, Thilaga, this reminds me of a quotation that I was reading this book, Energize Your Mind, yesterday, last night, by Gaur Gopal Das, the monk. I'm sure you
who
know him.
sold us?
So, yeah, that's right. That's right. So, there, he actually quoted George Bernard Shaw's quotation, where George Bernard Shaw says that now that we have learned to fly in the air like birds, now that we have learned to swim underwater like fish, we lack one thing: to learn to live on earth as human beings.
Wow, wonderful.
Isn't it lovely?
Yeah, very
Uh,
much.
so humanity, right? This kind of brings back to the whole question of humanity on earth, right? We are going ahead, and there is artificial intelligence, there is robots, there is machine learning. We are doing so many things. We are crossing boundaries, transcending. One thing we need to be very, very cognizant of is, are we forgetting to live on earth as human beings? And what does that entail?
That's
Right?
true.
Right. And this was written so many years back. Imagine the guy's farsightedness, George Bernard Shaw, and it still holds water even now, right? And see, the thing is, a ship needs water to sail. You need water to sail, right? A ship needs water. But if you look the history of Titanic, it actually sank because that same water that helped him float went inside the ship and made it sink. So water helps you to sail, water also helps you to sink.
Yeah,
Right. Right? You have to understand how to use life in the right sense so that you float with the right principles and be human.
yeah.
Right?
And I just remember one more uh, statement about water from Bruce Lee. he used to say, right? Be like a water, be flexible.
Yeah,
Water
yeah,
goes
exactly.
everywhere.
Yeah, it takes its shape, right? It takes its
Yeah.
shape because, yeah, that's the property of a liquid, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. um, what's your maybe one line if you want to say about work-life balance? Maybe it helps other audience.
Know your priorities, simple as that. Have your priorities ironed out, right? You should know your priorities and stick to it. Don't compromise that, right? And remain focused. These two things, if you know your priorities and you're focused, you're going to have a wonderful work life balance. See, we have to understand every organization also wants you to have work life balance. It's really up to you. I can't say that I have such a huge work pressure that I'm losing it. I don't believe in that. But I believe that if you know your priorities, if you know your pressures, you align yourself, right? You have a very clear cut agenda. What will you do when? And have a discipline in life, right? I think you should be able to retain that, right? That's
Um,
that's my suggestion.
my next topic is discipline. I
Oh,
believe a daily habits or daily rituals.
very
Everyone,
important.
every successful person follows. That's what I understood from watching a lot of interviews. So what is
Yes.
your daily rituals which helping you in sales, leadership, as well as personality?
Thilaga, I should be humble enough to tell you I'm actually working on that myself. I probably don't have the audacity to suggest anything. I should be honest to myself as well. I think I'm working on that one area where I need a lot of improvement, right? So I feel that discipline is important. I always feel I was reading Robin Sharma's morning 7 a.m. book, I think. He says to get up early in the morning and have a morning ritual. And as you rightly said, a lot of leaders that I have been reading as well, who are my mentors, when I talk to them, they all have a very good morning routine because morning is one time that's very productive, right? So even I'm trying to imbibe that, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I think it would be good to have a proper routine in mind and whatever works for you, just get that going, right? That will also keep your balance safe.
Yeah, yes, I believe the same.
Uh,
um you know Maybe I always say this quote which is very close to my heart is Swami Vivekananda says, greatness is
yeah,
not by doing great things, greatness by
right.
doing small things greatly.
Very well said. True.
So what's your secret of success if you want to put in one line, one word?
Yeah, that's my secret.
You
That's
want to
my
reveal it?
no. That's
Okay,
my
no
secret.
issues.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how audience to reach out to you if they want to?
Sorry,
How the
can you
audience
come
want to
again?
reach out to you? How you,
Oh, they
how
can
the
just
audience?
they can email me. I'll give you my personal email ID. They can reach out to me on email. I would love to help anybody, and it's a pleasure. It's a joy. As I said, I'm also learning in that process because I also see that when I talk to somebody, there's a lot of learning as well, right? Like I talked to you, I learned a lot of things from you as well. So it's not just always about giving, but it's also having that right symbiosis. So I also learn when I talk to others, right? There's always a learning for me as well. So yeah, I also learn from them, right? So I'm reachable on email as well.
Yeah, so maybe we'll put the email ID of yours in our
Yeah,
description.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, or in LinkedIn. Yeah,
Sohini,
whatever.
yeah. So it was nice talking to you. Great
Yeah, it's
conversation. Loved
well,
it. Yeah.
thank you for bringing me to your podcast and kind of prepping me also and kind of I hope I wish you success, and it's such a noble
Thank you.
cause that you have. I was very impressed with your vision as well, and what you do. You take your time out, you do this, and helping women. in sales. It's a very noble cause, and I wish you all the success, Tilaga. It's. I would love to see more people like you, more women like you as well.
Thank you, Sohini. Bye. Take care.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.